Hey beauties, good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. It's Winnie here again in another video, and in today's video we're going to be learning how to make this simple dress with a slanted gathered hemline and a tie collar at the neckline. If this is what you like to learn, kindly keep on watching, don't skip any parts. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. So without too much talking, let's get to the honey of this video. Let's go. I love you. Hey beauty, welcome to my channel. So I'm going to be using a pattern that I've already used earlier. If you don't know how to draft a simple basic gown, you should learn from my video that I posted earlier. So I'm just going to be making some modifications. So for the length of my gown, I took out 10 inches from the length of the gown, and that is what I'm going to be working with. So the 10 inches is what I'll cut out for the gathers at the down part. So I just cut that out now, and after that, at the hip line, this is the hip line, I'm going to go down by 3 inches, although I eventually used 5 inches. So I'm going down by 5 inches at the hip, from the hip line, and then I am going to connect it with a slant. Please note that this is for a half body, and by the time you are cutting on your fabric, open your fabric up and then cut it on the half of the body, because if you cut it into two, it's going to give you two slanted sides. I made a mistake on that when I was cutting mine. Please don't make that same mistake on your own pattern. So I have just slanted my hemline, and I am just calculating what I dotted, which is 10 inches. So now I'm using the same pattern for the back. I've already created an allowance of 1.5 inches, which I folded in earlier, and at the upper part I'm going to be modifying the neckline of the back. The back depth is going to be 1 inch, but the neck width of the both front and back is 3 inches. So this was when I added the 2 inches that I said earlier. Before, I used 3 inches on the pattern, but I added 2 inches extra at the hemline, and then I just cut it out. This was the mistake I said I made. Instead of me to open the fabric and cut it on one side, I cut the two, so I had two slanted sides, which is not meant to be. Please, when you are doing yours, don't make that mistake. So I'm just going ahead to cut the back, and I've already made the modification. See, the back is about one inch depth of neckline. So once that was done, I took my fabric and I am going to open it up, face it right side facing, and sew my shoulder with ½ inch, and then I'm going to sew the sides with 1 inch seam allowance that I left earlier. So once that was done, I am going to work on the zip area. Because this is going to have a collar, I'm going to take 1.5 inches upwards, and I'm going to take out 1.5 inches and measure out where I want my zip to stop, and I'm going to mark it out. So from that point, I measured out 1.5 inches, which is what I left for the zip allowance. So I'm just going to sew from that point all the way down. And once that is done, what we are going to do is that you are going to, after sewing that zip overlap, you are going to measure what you have round and multiply it by 2 or 3, depending on how full you want your fabric to be. So here I've already cut out the strip that I want. I cut a very long one of 10 inches wide, 10.5 inches plus ½ inch seam allowance for the joining. So I'm going to go ahead to sew the zip overlap now, and then I'm going to gather the strip on the hemline, which I've already done here. I have gathered it at the hemline, and as you can see, I have sewn the zip overlap. So at the front here, I'm going to create an opening, like a keyhole opening, which I've already done. It's going to make the tie collar sit properly, and then I'm going to measure what I have there. You don't really need to measure it. I used about 30 inches for the collar on each side. I just sew it from the zip side to the keyhole, where the keyhole stops. And this is my sleeve here. The client wanted a short sleeve, so I am doing a short sleeve for her. So now let me quickly explain the collar. I've already ironed it out. By the time you open it up without the ironing, I used about 4.5 inches. So I measured about 4.5 inches wide, and then I ironed half inch on both sides, and then I later ironed it into 2, as you can see. So I have a total of 1.75 inches on both sides and a length of 30 inches. So that is what I am going to be attaching to my dress now. So how you are going to do is you are going to turn it to the wrong side, and you are going to place the right side of the collar on it, and then you are going to sew it with 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way. So I'll quickly go and do that. I've done that now. I attached the sleeve and I attached one side of the collar. So for the second side, I've already sewn it from the wrong side as I've explained earlier, and then I am going to flip it over through the right side. So I've sewn it with 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to turn it to the right side and then flip it over and just sew it neatly from that point all the way down. All right, I'm going to sew it all the way down. You have to sew it very neat. Then once I'm done, I'm going to hem the edge of the collar just as I've done for the other part. So once that was done, I am going to fix my zipper. So I'm just showing you how to fold it inside and sew it. So once that's done, I'm going to sew my zipper. Please note that your zip is going to start from the collar up to where you want it to stop, and after that I gave it a good press, and this was the final look. I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys for watching. Till I see you in the next one, I want you to know that I love you and I care. Bye. Pop.